Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Ahluwalia Contracts (India) Limited Q4 FY21 post-results analyst conference call hosted by Ambit Capital Private Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Varun Ginodia from Ambit Capital. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nirav, and good afternoon, everyone. And I wish and I hope everyone is keeping in good health. We welcome everyone to Ahluwalia Contracts 4Q FY21 post-results earnings call. Today we have from the management Mr. Shobhit Uppal, Deputy Managing Director, Mr. Vikas Ahluwalia, Director, and Mr. Satbeer Singh, CFO. In terms of flow of the call, Mr. Shobhit Uppal will give some opening remarks, and then we will open the floor to Q&A. Sir, over to you.
Thanks, Varun. Thanks, Nirav. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this results call, year-ending FY21 financial results for Ahluwalia Contracts. During Q4 FY21, the company has achieved a turnover of 761.70 crores and a PAT of 37.07 crores in comparison to a turnover of 549.22 crores and a PAT of 6.10 crores in Q4 of FY20. EPS of the company for Q4 FY21 is 5.53 as compared to 0.91 in Q4 of FY20. During Q4 FY21, the company's EBITDA margin is 9.62% as compared to 4.71% and a PAT margin of 4.87% as compared to 1.11% in the corresponding period of the last financial year. During the financial year 2020-21, the company achieved a turnover of 1982.19 crores and a PAT of 77.24 crores in comparison to a turnover of 1884.93 crores and a PAT of 64.44 crores in the financial year 2019-20. EPS of the company for FY 2021 is 11.53 as compared to rupees 9.62 in the financial year 19-20. During the financial year 2021, the company's EBITDA margin is 8.91% as compared to 8.67% and a PAT margin of 3.9% as compared to 3.42% in the corresponding period of the last financial year. Net order book of the company as on 31st March 2021 stood at 7,605 crores to be executed in the next 2 to 2.5 years. Thank you. We are open for questions now.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The first question is from the line of Nitin Arora from Axis Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hi, Shobhit. Good evening.
Hi, Nitin. Hi.
Sir, first of all, just...
Nitin, your voice is faint.
Nitin, if you can request it.
I'm audible now, sir?
Yes, much better.
Yes, you are.
All right, sir. Sir, first need your opening remarks related to what kind of an execution you are seeing at the ground level for specifically for our order book in context of 2 things. One, how's Bihar project is moving now, and the projects like Sign, because Maharashtra you have 2 projects, which is your metro and the Sign one, how they are proceeding. Why I'm asking this, sir, because the projects like Jammu and the Delhi government project, the central government, Central Vista was in full swing, as you were guiding earlier as well. So if can throw some light, will execution ramp up from the Bihar and the Maharashtra project? How we should build in that?
Okay. Yeah. Bihar, the projects now going forward will move full swing. First there was a hangover of elections, and secondly, what we've seen in Bihar and in most of the government projects that, when the financial year ends, the next couple of months, the treasury movement is a little slow. So that is behind us now. That coincided with the impact of second wave of COVID. So, while the first quarter is sluggish, but going forward, Bihar, I think, will pick up speed now. It's in the process of doing that. We are picking up speed there, and some fund release there has already started in the last 7 to 10 days. As far as Mumbai, the two projects are concerned, MMRDA, the depot, has also picked up speed. Sion, as per the nature of the project, it really doesn't affect the total turnover too much because the stipulated duration of that project is about 4 years. So it's not, the run rate on that project is never going to be high. That's what has been taken into our planning also.
Okay. So sir, next year, given what second wave would have impacted your Q1, I'm assuming not much impact because of the construction activity was I think already on. You can comment on that; it will be helpful. But generally, for the next 1 year, given the Bihar will ramp up, I think Jammu already in full swing. How much revenue one should build up for the next year here going forward?
Look, Nitin, there is an impact. If people are telling you that the first quarter there is no impact, while construction did not stop totally, but definitely our labor dropped down to about 30% on an average in these 2 months. So yes, as I mentioned, first quarter will be sluggish. And then secondly, everybody is talking about the third wave. That's an unknown. How that is going to impact moving forward. This uncertainty continues to be there. And labor force still is not back to 100% on all our projects because of this uncertainty. However, in spite of these headwinds, our guidance for this financial year is 10 to 15% growth in our revenue.
So you're taking much impact of third wave any which ways in your guidance. Is that the right way to look at it when you're guiding at the lower end at 10%?
We can only take a certain amount of impact. We don't know how bad
So, sir,
it will be.
Because why I'm asking this, that because 7,500 crore backlog, you will be executing very fast your Central Vista and Jammu in the first half. Then second half it has to be driven by, let's say, Bihar. So that's why I asked you if Bihar started moving and all, because Calcutta not much order book left now. They've already executed very fast there.
Yeah, but in the first half of this financial year, Calcutta will contribute because it's been good that the same regime has come back to power, and we have a couple of large projects which now have started moving post-elections there again. The auditorium project and the Milan Mela project. So yeah, the first half will contribute. Contribution will be there from Calcutta also.
So just last take of yours on the bid pipeline across the projects, and that is one. And second, can you throw some light how now you viewing the real estate part, because we keep hearing from the real estate sector that the demand is coming back, though some of the players are in a hurry of new launches as well. What's your sense, sir? Because you're generally being positive on commercial, I remember, and we saw some orders also coming from there. I just need your take on the bid pipeline, how you're seeing in terms of ordering, how much you're planning, and your take on real estate. That's it from me. Thank you.
We continue to be wary. of private real estate, especially residential. It is yet not a focus area for us. So that's one part of your question answered. As far as the bid pipeline is concerned, we have submitted bids for about 2,000 crores, 1,930 crores as things stand today. And beyond this also, I'm seeing a bid pipeline of about 1,200 crores.
Getting it. Thank you very much, sir. I'll join.
Thanks, Nitin.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Shravan Shah from Dolat Capital Market Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Thank you and congrats for good set of numbers.
Thanks, Shravan. Thanks.
Yeah. Sir, a couple of things. First, when we are saying that labor is 70% and first quarter is sluggish, if you can help me, just a broad number, can we say at least 500 crores, so 762 crore is the fourth quarter revenue. Even if I do a 0.7%, 70% of that is a 532 crore. So will it be even lower than that, or that would be a kind of a broadly on that range as we are already finishing the quarter?
I think it will be around 500 crores.
Okay.
That's what our projections show.
Okay. And on the EBITDA margin front, previously we said that we were looking at 10-11% for this year and 11-12% for FY23. Is there any change in that number?
No, we are quite bullish on our EBITDA in this year, the ongoing financial year, 11 to 12%.
For
so
this
we
year.
increased it by a percentage point.
Okay. That's great. Third thing, sir, just wanted to understand in terms of the provisions for debtors. Last time we said in 9 months we have written 13.78 crore. But now if I look at in terms of the cash flow, it is around 53 odd crore. So this quarter it seems that we have written off 39 odd crore or made a provision for that. So just trying to understand what is that and is it over? Because even last time also we said we will expecting 6 more crore provision this quarter, and now actually we have done close to 39-40 odd crore. So not able to understand where we are going wrong and what is still left in terms of the that and at the same time in terms of the capex also. Last time when we said that in 9 months we did around 19 crore and expecting 7-8 odd crore, but we have done actually 35-36 odd crore. So what would be the number for next year in terms of the capex also?
So yeah, I had given you a total capex for the entire year at about anywhere between 25 to 28 crores. You're right, we have done 35 crores. That is because due to paucity of labor, we've invested more in mechanization to get projects up to speed, especially large projects especially hospital projects, where we've taken a calculated gamble in investing more in machinery, primarily cranes and excavators and also, shuttering systems. And we've done this on the Jammu project, we've done this on the Hamirpur project and the Chamba project. These are hospital projects where the state governments are also extremely bullish, as is the center for the Jammu project, because they feel that the funds for these projects are not going to be in short supply. Going forward, the capex for this year will be between 25 to 30 crores. As far as the write-offs are concerned, there is no confusion. I think you used the word where we are going wrong. We are not going wrong at all. I thought the street would be happy. We've cleaned up our balance sheet totally. And I had maintained that by the end of this financial year, most of the so-called bad debts we would write off, and we've done that.
Okay, so now nothing left in terms of the provision.
It's minor, right? Minor things. That also we are hoping that it would not come to that, but the balance sheet is mostly totally cleaned up now.
Okay. Lastly, sir, on data point, a breakup of order book segment-wise, region-wise, and also the number on the mobilization advance, retention money, and unbilled revenue.
That is the last authority. That is the order book regarding this is This is government is 80% and private is 20%. And segment-wise is commercial, that is 4.92%, hospital is 51.58%, infra 12.75%, institutional 16.27%, residential 14.48%. And region-wise, east this is 33%, north 46.1%, and west 20.23%, and south negligible 0.66%. And you are asking about mobilization advance, that is around 322 crores. And further, what you are asking?
Retention money and unbilled revenue.
Retention money, that is including this is retention and debtor. This is 616 crores. And unbilled revenue is 252 crores.
Sorry. Retention, sir, you said how much?
Retention is out of that 181 crores.
181.
1 crore, including current and non-current.
Okay. Thank you, sir, and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital Advisors. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir, and congratulations.
Good afternoon, Mohit. Thanks.
Congratulations on good set of numbers, sir.
Thanks.
Sir, on trade receivables, you said that you written off entirely everything, and there's absolutely no write-off likely in the FY22. So my question is, how do you see the trade receivables going forward for FY22? Do you think it will increase? How do you think it will maintain at these levels, given that we are guiding for a very a muted kind of revenue growth, given our large order book? And secondly, sir, can you just is the order book 7,500 crore? Can you confirm that number?
Yes, 7,605 crores.
And so my
Hello?
questions are answered.
Mohit, did you get that?
Yes, I got it, sir. And at trade receivables, sir, can you please elaborate on that? How do you see the trend going forward?
Look, trade receivables, it will be stable. It will remain at these levels because, as I said, the pandemic is still continuing, and the impact of the third wave, what it's going to be, and how, even if it's not there, how the economy, reacts or bounces back. So these are some of the things which are still in the realm of uncertainty. You want any specific numbers on trade receivables?
Got it. I think it will remain like this. I think you're guiding for a stable trade receivables, right?
Yes.
So, is there an order inflow guidance you can provide for FY22? And what kind of orders are available from the government side, in the sense of the hospitals? Are you seeing more tenders of hospitals, or is it general building?
At the moment, it's as far as the government order pipeline is concerned, we are seeing focus on healthcare projects. Otherwise, it is sluggish because the government, various state governments and the central government are also looking at, balancing their budgets and seeing how money can be allocated for various projects. So there is a bit of slowdown in other projects, other institutional projects, let me put it that way. As far as our guidance for the order inflow is concerned, it's about 2,500 crores for the entire year.
And last year was 2,000 crore, am I right, sir?
Yes.
Understood, sir. Thank you, sir. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashish Shah from Centrum Broking Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Ashish.
Yeah. So just coming back to the subject of provisions. So as of the last annual report, we had three distinct buckets of issues. One was the BG encashment, which was about 20 crores. We had overdue retentions and receivable of 79 crores, and we had 53 crores of inventories of flats. So I believe the inventory part is what it remains. Where are we on the BG encashment part of 19? Is that completely written off during this year? And where are we on the 79 crore which we had recorded as of the last annual report? So how much of that is remaining?
We are not able to understand what you are asking.
The first part, I think he's talking about the BG encashment of Reliance.
Right.
Is that what he's talking about with the Reliance
Yes.
Metro? Right, you're talking about that.
The ADAG group.
That we've not written off. There a settlement has been reached with Reliance. In addition, this 19 crores. In addition to that, another about 24 crores, I think. So the total settlement is about 40 odd crores, which they have to pay us in the next 4 to 5 years. Obviously, the repayment plan, as per the repayment plan, it should have started, but only a token amount has come, obviously on account of, because their revenues continue to be hit because of Metro not functioning on account of pandemic, and their award from Delhi Metro airport line yet not having fructified. So that is not written off.
Okay.
What was the next part of your question that I think
part was
we didn't understand?
Overdue retentions and trade receivables. That was recorded at 79 crores in the last annual report. What I'm checking is that
That is not of overdue. Basically, that is a part of the. If you are asking for the old legal project, that is amount hardly 4 crores retention money.
Okay, so 4 crores is remaining of the
If we are in legal and arbitration, that is hardly 4 crore retention is, you can say. But all the rest of the retention money for the running projects are there. Out of 181 crores, you can say around 175 crores are related to running projects.
Okay, sure. So we are basically saying what is balance. What Shobhit sir said is that the remaining amounts, if at all, are going to be very small. So we are talking about the quantum of, let's say, around 4 odd crores of retentions, which probably are not
That's
the correct.
only 4 or 5 crores related to old projects that we have taken action in legal or arbitration matter.
Correct. Apart from that, there is nothing remaining.
No, that's all running projects that we are realizing time to time according to the situation of the availability with the client and also availability of our limits also. So that we are realizing time to time.
Okay.
Against the BG. Most of the projects have terms of realizing the retention against the BG.
Okay. So can you give the breakup of the finance charges, the interest cost for Q4 and FY21 as reported in the P&L?
Interest cost is hardly, now this is coming out
what I'm saying is the
7.5%.
So I'm saying the total finance charges, the finance cost reported for the quarter.
Out of this, basically majorly related to mobilization advance that we have taken around 320 crores. That amount is around 21 crores, that's the mobilization advance related as interest. And another one is you will find that discounting of the lease liability, lease license fee, that's 4 crore 20 lakhs. That is also included in this.
For quota.
Quota project.
For quota. Yeah.
And this is another is 12 to 13 crores related to BG commissions like expenses. Interest cost is hardly 3.90 crores.
Sure. Got it. Thank you. Thank
It
you.
is given to the bank.
Right, sir. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Parikshit Kandapal from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Harika, congratulations on a good set of numbers.
Thanks, Parikshit.
Yes, Shobhit, my first question was on, if I go a little bit back in the history, so if I see your numbers, so FY 19-20 we had major inflows, and FY 18 to 21 we have almost more than doubled our order book, but in terms of revenues we are still struggling in that range of 17 to 2,000 crores of numbers, while the order book has more than doubled. So the 750 odd crores which we have done, so is this the optimal revenue we can do in a normalized condition on the current order book? Because I was waiting for last almost 2 years that somewhere we'll catch up with the order inflows and the order book in terms of execution. Have we reached that stage now, given whatever happened in terms of COVID first and second waves? Are we there?
You use the word optimum conditions. Yes, we are there. If conditions stay optimal, then yeah, 750 is achievable. But as we have seen, Parikshit, year after year, there are surprises around the corner every time we get too complacent. So that is why, I'm giving the guidance that I am, that probably by the end of this year, we should be at 2,300 crores or there and thereabouts.
This will be almost very conservative in terms of pricing in the almost large extent of second wave and other conditions related to payments of your dues and all, so considering the economic factors as well. So there could be potentially upside from these levels. This is not the optimal kind of execution which you are guiding, right?
Could be, Parikshit, could be. But as I said, we are still not out of the pandemic. So it's only prudent to assume that there will be some continued effect over the next few months at least.
The second question was on, sir, again on the same issue that the order book has doubled, but large part of that has not reflected yet in the execution, and it is followed by a massive increase in the raw material prices last year. So do you think that this 11 to 12% kind of margin guidance prices in the raw material escalation on the entire order book, or are there any further negative surprises on the margin fronts which could possibly come up?
They have been factored in.
Okay. And for FY23, so trajectory-wise, you said you're getting bullish on the margin. So 11 to 12 for next year, and does it have further scope of increasing to 12 to 13% in FY23? Hopefully by then we'll have no more of third or fourth or potentially fourth or fifth wave. In the absence of that, so can we move back to our normalized margins of about 13 to 14% range by FY23?
Yes.
Okay, great, sir. Just lastly on this year, so how much is the total write-off which we took in FY21?
I think 53 crores.
Okay. So and this is and you're saying that this year maybe very minor amount may come in, almost everything is provided for. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks a lot, Shobhit. That's all from myself. And all the best.
Thank you.
Hello. Thanks.
The next question is from the line of Vibhor Singhal from Phillip Capital India Private Limited. Please go ahead. Vibhor Singhal, may I request you to unmute your line from your side and go ahead with your question?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I think I was mute. Sure, thanks for taking my question. So sir, my question, just two questions. One, just harping a little bit more on the provision side. So you mentioned the total 53 crores of provision is what we have taken for this full year. Assuming and going by the call that we had in the last quarter, the total provision for this quarter would be around 34 crores?
Yeah, exactly.
And so this would reflect in our... Sorry, sir?
Hello?
Yeah.
That have you made provisions and write-off is 34 crores.
34 crores. Right, sir. So, sir, basically, if I were to, and this would be reflected in the other expenditure, right? In the P&L?
Yes.
Right. So, that's around 450 basis points. So, we can assume that if the provision was not there, our core operating margin would have been close to 13.5%.
Just around the total...
About 12%.
Okay.
53 crores, about 2.5%.
2.5%.
Yeah. So about 12%. 11.5%, 12%.
Right. So that is the margin that we can, as you mentioned, we can replicate as well next year on a core operation basis.
Exactly. That's why I said 11 to 12%. Yes.
Sure. Great, sir. And sir, this entire 53 crores was related to the Commonwealth Games project, or were there other provisions, other projects as well?
Majorly to the Commonwealth Games.
And the Commonwealth Games has been expensed out completely. There is no more provision left for that project to be made.
Yes.
Sure. Great, sir. So my next question is just one, I just wanted to get a clarification on a couple of balance sheet items. So our other non-current assets have increased from 71 crores to around 120 crores. And our other current assets have increased from 315 to 458 crores. So put together, there's approximately 150 crores of increase in our other current and non-current assets.
Yes. Basically, you are asking other current assets that has been increased 315 to 458 crores. majorly due to unbilled revenue. That has been grown from 120 crore to 252 crore. And besides that, that's majorly due to GST, we have to take a refund around that amount has also increased by 30 crore. That's the major impact. That the other current assets has been increased from amount 143 crore. And you are asking about other current financial assets. Other current financial assets?
No, the other non-current assets.
That is not major.
From 71 crores to 118 crores.
Hold on for a moment. That is mobilized. Hold on.
Other non-current.
Hold on.
Yeah, sure.
That is due to increase in retention money. Retention money has been increased to 60 crore to 105 crore. Okay. That is a major impact only in other non-current assets.
Right. And sir, in the unbilled revenue you mentioned, unbilled revenue has increased from 120 crores to
124 to 252 crores.
252. So this is 130 crores of incremental. This is again any specific project which captures major part of this unbilled revenue, or is it spread across?
That's due to change in the system. Basically, what's happening now that earlier was done in a particular particular month. We are invoicing according to that. But now, because of real-time invoicing is there, that's why we have to increase the amount that is WIP and unbilled revenue that we are not able to recognize in revenue.
Okay, so just that maybe a recognition kind of a problem, not a real.
Because of changes in the GST system, that's you might be aware that they have introduced this in e-invoicing system.
Okay, so because of that, the major increase is because of that.
Yes, that's why unbilled revenue has been grown up.
Okay. Sure, sir. Great. So, Shobhit sir, just one last question from my side. Just wanted to pick your brain on basically, we know that the healthcare sector is basically seeing a lot of boost, and as we were having this call, BFM again came on television and they've been delivering some more jobs to the sector. So, do you see our business also kind of moving towards that direction? We have certain expertise in this domain. So do you foresee that in the next couple of years, maybe larger part of the order book than what it is today could be in the healthcare segment, and there could be much larger projects coming through our way in this segment per se?
Look, I will not exactly replicate what you're saying, but what I would say, and I had said this in my last call also, that we are in a special position because of our expertise of having delivered hospitals in the past 5 to 7 years. And going forward, this will remain a focus area and it will help us in growing our business.
Sure, sir. Sure, great, sir. That's helpful. Thank you so much for taking my questions, and wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Rajat Sethia from iThought Financial Consulting. Please go ahead.
Hi, am I audible?
Hi, Rajat. Hi.
Hi, thanks. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, most of my questions have been answered. One thing is remaining. If you look at our finance cost, so it keeps on changing, obviously, depending on the order that we receive and depending on the order book that we build. So just wanted to understand, in reference to the revenues, maybe is it something that we can generalize that, this is the range that we would be comfortable operating at, or this is the range where, this is...
Rajat, your voice is not very clear. Rajat, your voice is not very clear.
Is it any better now?
It is.
Okay. I was saying, in terms of finance cost as a percentage of sales, if we have to look at, is it something that you can help us understand how it moves in relation to the revenues?
So, do you want to take that question? You want to answer that?
Yeah. Basically, that going onward, that finance cost will be reduced gradually because of adjustment of mobilization advance. Mobilization advance is 322 crores. You can save our project over 2.5 years to 3 years. That would be advances would be adjusted So that now going onwards, you will find that coming out 2.14%. So that will be came down. Basically, major mobilization advance interest is there, 21 crore. That we are expecting that will be.
No. I think what he wants to understand, if I understood your question correctly, you want to understand why there is a variation year after year. Is that what your question is, Rajat?
Yeah, just would like to understand how to really understand this particular cost component, because I think it is a function of not just the revenues that we book in our P&L, but also the order book, I think, that we have in the pipeline, correct?
So I'll tell you what it is a function of. If you see, normally for companies which are debt laden, a majority of the finance cost comes from the interest that they pay to the bank. We are virtually a debt-free company. Out of this total, I think the advance is about, total finance cost is about 40 odd crores. How much? 42 crores. Out of this, what we pay to the banks as far as is virtually negligible. It's 4 crores. More than 50%, about 50% of this cost is on account of the mobilization advance, which we have taken on various government projects, which is interest bearing. About 20 crores out of this 40 odd crores is that finance cost, right? In this year, particularly in the latter part of this financial year, last financial year we did not take much mobilization advance. Even when it was due, we did not take it. But seeing the market scenario, seeing the fund position of governments and central government, we thought it prudent to take this advance. That is why this absolute figure stands of this advance outstanding on our books is about 320 crores. And what Satbir has mentioned is that going forward, if conditions improve, we would get it deducted and try and reduce this finance cost on our balance sheet. The other portion of this finance cost is what we pay to the bank for our bank charges against bank guarantees that we take, which we have to give as performance securities, as mobilization advance bank guarantees, and retention securities to various government clients.
Sure.
And about 4 crores he mentioned, answered to one of the earlier questions, is for the quota project.
Sure.
Is your question answered?
Yes, pretty much. Just one follow-up on this. On this mobilization advances that we get, so we took it because we thought considering in mind the liquidity situation, but now going forward, let's say when we don't take this advance, this interest-bearing mobilization advance, then how do we finance, from our own books, or how does it happen?
So it depends on project to project. If it's a central government project, especially relating to ministries, healthcare, for instance, going forward, we would avoid taking mobilization advance, or we will not take it to its fullest extent, and we would like to finance it from internal accruals. But if it is in state, say Himachal, for instance, if we feel, in the long term funds may be an issue, we would like to stock up by taking the mobilization advance.
And what is the charge on mobilization advance, and what's the rate of interest?
It's 10%. The rate of interest is generally 10%, and the charge, there is no other charge other than the charges that we pay to the banks for getting the bank guarantees, because this advance is securitized by giving bank guarantees to the client.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jiten Rushi from Axis Capital Limited. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Congratulations.
Good evening, Jiten. Thanks.
In the order backlog, can you give us a breakup between the fixed price contract and the contracts like variable in nature covered by escalation, or most of the contracts are covered by escalation?
I think about 80% of the projects, we will send these exact numbers to you, so please note this, but about 80% of the contracts are covered by an escalation clause.
Mm-hmm. Then we are like well protected against the raw material increase, right?
Yes.
Yes. And sir, on the inventory part, so do we have we sold any inventory in the form of real estate which we were having, which we had taken from our clients and which were in our books, and what would be the pending outstanding inventory, such type of inventory?
That we have sold during the year, that is related inventory around 7.69 lakhs. And that is there is a also we have shown loss of rupees 2.94 crore. It includes impairment of rupees 1.91 crore.
Sorry, I didn't get you, sir. You said 7.9 crore was the opening, you said, right, sir?
We have sold during the year 7.89 crore inventory.
That is what we have sold.
Yes.
And now what is outstanding
You
is
can see
nothing.
that there is segment by there that we have shown there. Other part.
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. And sir, in terms of the order backlog, so can you give me the outstanding order backlog for two key projects, if I may ask, as on March ending? So Jammu project, the hospital project, and the hospital project in Nagpur, AIIMS, and the Kalyani Nagar, West Bengal. Then the government hospital project in Bihar, Chhapra. So if it is possible, can you share these numbers, or should I take it?
Tell me project wise, I will tell you.
Okay.
He's asking for majorly the outstanding.
Major. That is in Kalyani, 177 crore.
Sorry.
And,
Can you come back? Hello. So which project did you say?
And you are asking for Bihar project. Bihar AIIMS Kalyani 177 crore.
Okay.
And you are asking about Chhapra. This is 314 crore. And Nalanda 268 crore.
Okay. And Jammu?
And Jammu, this is 1176 crore.
1176. Okay.
1176 crore.
1176. Central Vista, sir?
Central Vista, this is 246 crore.
Okay, so almost significant execution done this quarter, I think.
Yes.
Okay, and sir, this Nagpur AIIMS, sir?
AIIMS Nagpur, this is 125 crore.
And these are Chhapra you gave. Okay. And sir, one more project, if you can highlight, the MCGM of Sion Hospital. You said it has started. So it is still the same in the order backlog?
That has just started. That's all amount is pending.
And that 240 bed hospital project also started, or how it is, sir?
Which project?
In Hamirpur project, sir.
It has also just started. It's a design build project, but work on the ground has begun. We have already done a billing of about 10 odd crores.
10 odd crores. Exactly.
So, sir, can I get separately the list of outstanding order backlog project-wise if I mail it to the IR team? Can they mail me?
Yes,
sir, if it is okay with you?
We will send it to you.
That's it from my side, sir. Thanks a lot and all the best, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Jaimin Shah from Equirus Securities. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Congratulations on the good set of numbers.
Thanks, Jaimin.
So my question is regarding the gross margins that have reported during this 4Q FY21. So sir, if we see the trend of Q3 FY21 or 4Q of FY20, then the gross margins were hovering around 17 to 18%, whereas we have recorded around 21-22% during this 4Q FY21, despite this raw material prices increase. So, like, how we are looking at this margin going forward, like in the range of 21-22 or below that?
Look, we have been able to achieve an excellent set of numbers in this quarter due to various factors. Primarily, some projects where the margins were high, our execution levels were very high. So, but this, I don't expect these kind of numbers to last quarter after quarter, especially on account of the uncertainty, as I said. But if optimal conditions are there, why not? As I mentioned, I think it was Shravan who asked that question. Maybe 2 years down the line, we will go back to the highs that we had attained in the past, around 2010.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Jaimin, do you have any follow-up question?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Participants, you may press star and one to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Shravan Shah from Dolat Capital Markets. Please go ahead.
Sir, last time we said that we bidded two projects. One was NBCC Delhi and one was Patna, around 1,000 each. Has that bid open, or it is still pending, that what we said around 1,930 crore that we have submitted? So that is still a part of that?
No, the first one, the Delhi one in Karkarduma, there were two bidders. One was Nagarjuna, one was us. The job has been awarded to Nagarjuna, who was about 18% lower than us, if memory serves me right. So what we had bid as 1,050 crores, I think he has taken the job at about 830 or 40 crores. So that has been awarded, not to us. The second job is yet to be, the price bid is yet to be opened. I think Bihar, because it was various government departments were reeling under the effects of the pandemic. So I think the evaluation is on the pre-qualification or post-qualification is still continuing.
Okay, so currently what we said, around 1,930 crore bids submitted, to around 1,000 crore would be the Bihar one. So the other 900 or 1,000 crore, that would be a single project, or the 2-3 projects are there?
No, there are 5 other projects.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no issues. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Parvez Akhtar Qazi from Edelweiss Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, sir, and congratulations for a great set of numbers.
Thanks, Parvez. Thank you.
A couple of questions from my side. First, you mentioned that bid pipeline has been slightly sluggish. So what is the kind of competitive intensity that we're looking at? You just said NCC did some 18% lower than you. But as a general trend over the last 6 odd months and let's say prior to the second wave, how was the competitive intensity?
Parvez, as I had mentioned in my last call, I had expected the competitive intensity to be high. But now it will taper off. I think things will start normalizing because almost every contractor is reeling from the price increase. Albeit, although most of the contracts are covered, government contracts are covered by a price escalation clause, but in the short term, it has impacted contractors whose balance sheets, whose borrowings were high. So I think they would have learned their lessons going forward. Maybe in the second part of this financial year, I think the competitive intensity would not be as much.
Sure, sir. And sir, just had a couple of bookkeeping questions. What was the overall debt at the end of FY21?
I think the debt is about 15 crores.
14 crores.
14 crores.
Sure. And
negligible.
Sir, if it is not too much of hassle, can you please repeat the segment-wise breakup of the order?
Yeah, hold on. That is commercial 4.92%, hospital 51.58%, infra 12.75%, institutional 15.27%, residential 14.48%.
Sure, sir. Thanks. That's it from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to all the participants, you may press star and one to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Parikshit Kandapal from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead. Parikshit, may I request you to unmute your line from your side and go ahead with the question? Parikshit, we are unable to hear you. May I request you to unmute your line from your side and go ahead with the question?
Hello. Is it better now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Parikshit, we can hear you now.
There's 25 crores of cash on the book. So is it largely explained by the high level of mobilization advances which we have availed during this year just to keep the liquidity buffer on our side?
Parikshit, just repeat your question, please.
Hello?
Parikshit?
Yes, sir. Can you please repeat? Sorry.
Parikshit,
Hello, can
एक बार repeat करिए आप अपना question.
Sir, मैं कह रहा था
First half of the question was not really audible.
325 crores of cash which we have on the books.
Yeah, that's largely on account of mobilization advances. Yes.
So this year, how much was the incremental mobilization advance you would have availed versus last year?
Just last year, mobilization advance outstanding was 207 crores and now 322 crores. But we have to check how much mobilization advance has been taken this year.
Okay, so 207 was last year closing, and now you said 300. Okay. Okay. So the second question was on, sir, on the real estate side, we are seeing very good recovery in residential, which was there till the second wave hit us. And even if I listen to the commentary of most of the organized private real estate developers, they sound very confident on the second half of FY22. And this COVID has also resulted in a large part of market share shifting. Just from Bengaluru market alone, top 4-5 developers market share has increased from 20% to almost 50%, when the market shrunk about 35% from 50 million to 35 million square feet. So are we, and these are all like strong balance sheet developers who can pay developers like you on time, who can give you good projects, good contracts. So are somewhere in the near future, do you really think that we can come back and start looking at private sector, especially the tier 1 developers, as a potential part of our order book and growth? So if you can comment something on that.
Yeah, if I take you back a couple of years, I had told you that, in the long term, we would like to maintain a 50-50 order book, right? But in the short term, we continue to be risk averse and wary of residential projects on the private sector side. In the long term, in the past, it has been our bread and butter, and we will eventually, after evaluating the stronger players and when the market has stabilized, we will obviously be working on the private residential projects also. We are doing that in a handful of projects. The projects in Pune that we are doing, 50% of that project is residential, as you know.
Okay. So, but that long term is now not that long term, right? I mean, is it like maybe another year, or like, so how far do you see that you will be in a position to come back?
There is a lot of uncertainty. As things stand, in the next 1 year at least, residential projects on the private sector side do not interest us.
Okay. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take the last question from the line of Mohit Kumar from DM Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity once again, sir. So one clarification, sir. The kind of order we bid for in the government side, be it the state or central, all are covered by escalation clauses, right?
Yes.
There is no fixed price contract from the government side. Am I right in saying that in general?
NBCC used to have fixed price contracts, but on larger contracts now, they've also acceded to the demands of the construction companies and have started putting in escalation clauses.
Understood, sir. Thank you, sir. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will now hand the conference over to Mr. Varun Ginodia for closing comments.
Thank you. Thank you, Nirav. And thank you so much, sir, for patiently answering all the questions. And I hope, everyone does keep in good health during these times. Sir, any closing remarks? I hand over the call to you for that.
Thank you. Thank you, Varun. Thank you, everybody, for joining in and listening to us. If there are any further questions, please feel free to mail them to us. We will respond. And see you soon, hopefully with a good set of numbers again after a couple of months. Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Varun. Take care.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Ambit Capital Private Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines.